Hi, shalom friends. The story I'm about to tell you happened a little bit more than 150 years ago in Hungary, in the city of Szeged. At that time, there was a very prominent pedagogue, a great rabbi, Rabbi Tadelbaum, who had a very prominent yeshiva, advanced studies of Talmud, and it was actually a mark of honor for students to be accepted. In one of the cities near Szeged, there lived a very pious businessman who had great expectations for his son Berish, who was quite intelligent and a lively personality, and said to Berish, I want to get you into the school, and he did so. Now Berish, this 16-year-old boy, had a really good brain and loved to study, but he was also mischievous and bubbling personality, and it didn't take long after 2-3 weeks to realize that the workload and the long hours and the rigorous study was not for him. So he began to act out practical pranks, nothing, it's all innocuous, innocent, but not studious. And this was only for really serious students. Didn't take long. The establishment picked up on this, and they basically wrote a letter to the father asking him to come and take his son out of the school so someone else more worthy can enter. Father was very disappointed. He traveled, and he had a real strong talk with his son and told him, I want you to be a Talmud Chacham, I want you to be a Torah scholar. This is the place where you will soar, and stop playing games. And he spoke to the establishment, and they asked for a second chance. They gave him a second chance. The father told the son, he said, listen here, son. We're gonna, in a couple of weeks, after I leave, there'll be a new semester. And after that new semester, the semester will end in the spring break, which is the Passover holiday. When you come home, I want you to bring me a note of the dean saying that he's seen improvement. And if not, he left that ominous and if not, but he made it very clear, you will not be welcomed at home. Well, Berish was really in a dilemma over here. He didn't want to sever his relationship with his family, and certainly not with his father, whom he respected. On the other hand, this was not an easy school to go. Anyway, he really tried, but by Hanukkah already, in the middle of the winter, he was going crazy. There were times he thought he was going out of his mind. Now, Szeged had an army garrison. I don't know if it was a garrison, but there was a detachment of soldiers that were on the outskirts of the city. And there was actually a watchtower, which was manned 24, I don't know if it was really 24/7, but certainly during the daylight hours, it was always manned with a person. It was a watchtower. Everyone knew about it. There was a gate around it. And it was like, 15, 18 feet high. And there was a fellow who looked out through a window with his binoculars to keep watch. And one time, Berish he has pent-up energy. During the lunch break, he takes 3 of his friends. He says, come, I want to show you something. Of course, they followed him because he was known as the wise guy. He takes them to the outskirts of Szeged, and they could see the watchtower. And he says, how much are you willing to bet that I could climb up to the top? They said, don't be crazy. The only way to get to the top is with a ladder. And the way they had made the watching was a ladder. A soldier would come. 2 soldiers would come, carrying a ladder. One soldier would climb up and then go into the cubicle and be there for 4 or 6 hours. The second soldier would take away the ladder, which basically meant the guy was stuck there. When the watch ended, he would bring back the ladder. The fellow would climb down, he would climb up, and the person whose watch had ended would walk away with the ladder. So they said, look, without the ladder, you can't do it. He said, I'll prove it to you. And sure enough, they scale the fence, and like a cat, he actually latches on to the metal, and he had to be strong, and he was. He took his feet, he grasped the metal pole, and then with his two hands and shoulders, he lifted himself, and again, he put his feet around the pole. I mean, they were really quite frightened. There were times it looked like he was going to fall, but this guy was set upon this until finally the fellow is 3/4 asleep, the watchman. He gets all the way up to the window, taps on it, and then begins to allow himself to slide down. The fellow looks, he's not sure where the tapping comes from until by the time he figured out that the tapping had come not from a bird or a rock, but from actually a person. He saw these kids, actually a teenager coming down, and then the kids running and scaling the fence. When the watch ended, he went home to the barracks and began to say, that one kid, man, the guy is strong, he's brave, he's crazy. He actually climbed up. And the word spread throughout the Sighet that a yeshiva boy actually scaled, 15 feet high, whatever it might be, by himself. And it was the talk of the town. And of course, Beirish was a hero. Anyway, the established heard about it, and they didn't want to kick him out during the semester. So before the spring semester began, the kids were given 2 weeks or 3 weeks to go home for the Passover holiday. And Beirish remembered what he has to do. He has to bring a paper from the dean. Now the dean, Rabbi Teitelbaum, was a very honest man. He would not lie, no matter what. Beirish went in and began to cry. He said, Rabbi, I know, I haven't been doing the right things, but if you write the truth, that I'm a failure, you're going to destroy me and my family. Rabbi looked at him really, really with compassion. What should he do? Write the truth? Write a lie? Instead, he wrote as follows. He wrote, Dear Mr. So-and-so, I have to tell you that your son is full of life. He's very energetic. He has a great personality. We all love him. Though I had not the opportunity to actually test him myself, but I heard that he was climbing higher and higher during this semester. He's reached actually great heights. I wish you much hatzlacha, much success and nachas. When he wrote that, the boy was so appreciative. He wrote the truth without telling the truth. Anyway, he brought it home. The father read it and reread it, and he especially liked that sentence. He has reached great heights. He climbed higher and higher, and he was very warm, effusive with his son, and the son, realizing what the rabbi had done for him, promised himself mentally that when he goes back, he'll make the rabbi proud. And sure enough, he came back for the spring semester, changed, buckled down, and became actually quite a prominent student. It's a wonderful story, and I say it as an introduction to my next thought. A lot of people are very excited about 2021. First of all, it's a new calendar, new pictures. There's a new political climate in the country. There's vaccines. They would like to see 2021 as a year of promise. And when you ask them what happened with the year 2020, they say, we threw out the year and the calendar together. What a waste. Just an empty year. Nothing worthwhile to remember. We should really go from 2019 to 2021 because 2020 did nothing, accomplished nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, we climbed great heights in 2020. Do you know that in 2020 we closed houses of drink, bars were closed. We closed houses of gambling, the casinos were closed. We closed houses of ill repute. I don't have to explain that. Do you know that homework, which we always explain to our children, is so beneficial for us? All adults are doing at work, home, or homework. You know, we often run away from the home and the family for entertainment. This time we came inward. I think we climbed great heights in 2020. It's up to you to absorb the message. Let me explain what I mean. We have explosion, implosion. One of the easier ways to define the difference is explosion is the force carries the material away from the core. Implosion means that the force, the energy, the demolition is bringing it more within. So all of us that have seen or read about how they could actually get rid of a skyscraper or of a large building, they can't explode it because the debris would ruin all of the surrounding buildings. So instead, they have a demolition, but they make it in a way where the building collapses within. And that there's much of nuclear fission done in the same way. During 2020, perhaps we could see the country, but more particularly the individual, not looking outwards, but trying to go back to core, trying to go inwards. It's not the places where we leave, where we visit. There were very few places where we could visit. But there were very few places or we could travel to. We can't even use the expression extended family. It was all family. It was all within. And those people that, for whatever reason, did not have family, it was an examination of themselves. Who am I? What am I? If I can't play tennis with someone, then what should I do? 2020, I hope and pray, when the Mashiach comes, will be reinterpreted and shown to be what it truly was. A year in which God gave us the opportunity, which we availed ourselves of going back within, looking inward, and strengthening our core. Well, 2020 is over, 2021 started. We're constantly optimistic. We are confident that this year will be a better year, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Let's hope and pray that this year truly be the year of spiritual growth, not only of physical healing, but of spiritual healing, and we welcome the righteous Mashiach.